Grand Rising Loves. This is the Ultra Spread for the collective today. So the sacred geometry that showed up for today is Metatron's cube. This is a good spread. This is a very optimistic, positive message kind of spread. And so when I see these, it makes me happy, especially after a day like yesterday. Like the universe is like, we're done with you. For it to be positive message that comes right on the tail end of that. So I'm super happy about this. Metatron's cube is, if you remember when it showed up last time, this is about the joining of the masculine, feminine, but how are you creating cohesiveness and community? So your relationship outside of yourself. And so that's what it's asking you to be mindful of. And to cleanse anything that is not serving that higher purpose of you as part of the whole, right? So that's everything. That's heart-centeredness. That's the highest integrity. That is proper intent. And Metatron's cube is asking you to see this as a figure that is not two-dimensional, but to enter into that space, because Metatron's cube houses all of the Platonic solids. So this is any wisdom that you need to help guide you in that human experience. And part of our human experience is for it to be shared, to be of service. Everyone is somehow of service in the human experience. Everyone somehow is a servant. Everyone. And part of that being a servant is creating gentle wakes, being heart-centered, highest intent, pure intent. And that's what this card speaks about. What are you not aware of that needs to be righted so that there can be a cohesiveness? Because our whole purpose of the human experience is to return to unity consciousness. And if we do not succeed, then the earth will be purged again. And so like those, ancient stories, and every community or ancient peoples have a story about that happening, like the entire slate being wiped clean. So, and there's evidence of that scientifically. So Metatron's cube is like, how can you be part of the solution, not the problem? And I love that message. The Gatherer is wanting you to be aware of your resources. And so this has a very deep message. The ancient peoples who were gatherers were not hoarders, right? They only took what was needed because they knew that they would always be provided for, because their connection was so ironclad that there was never a thought that they would not be provided for. There was never a thought that they were separate from the divine. So they always knew that there would be this cohesiveness, right? The community cohesiveness. And they knew that they would always, always be sheltered, nurtured, fed, and loved. There was never any thought of scarcity whatsoever. So there wasn't greed. Greed is birthed from scarcity. And so that's what creates corruption. And that's the duality thinking, that there's that everything has to have an opposite. Well, everything does have a give and take, right? That's the polarities, but that's all still unity. It's not separate from you, it's still you. And so scarcity creates greed. And that's where the hoarding happens. So the Gatherer is saying, what do you have? What do you already have that you're not even paying attention to, because you have become so deeply ingrained in this scarcity mindset that you've become greedy and think that you need more, right? Like those doomsday preppers, or those people living in deceit, holding people captive to their reality because they need more. And they're actually becoming gluttonous and wasteful. And so the gatherer says, what do you already have that's so abundant? What can you be grateful for because you already have it? And do you really need something outside of what you already have? Because you are a divine being, so you're being provided for. Is that something that you have completely taken for granted? So that's what that card talks about. And I love that because, again, it's about being mindful, right? What are you not aware of? Metatron's cube brings all wisdom so that you can ask, what am I missing? So that I can create cohesiveness outside of myself. And the gatherer is saying, you could be missing something. Like, look at the resources that you have yourself. You are already abundant. Don't be greedy or think that you're not being provided for. And so leadership, sunstone, and this is sunstone, it's a feldspar. I want to see if I can get it. So the feldspar is this beautiful, like rust, electric there. Can you see the flash? I love that. I couldn't find my ring. I just showed it to you the other day when sunstone came up, and I couldn't find where I put it. So maybe my daughter has it. But there's some flash. That is the beauty of sunstone right there. So if you can do like a screenshot and meditate on that, you can actually connect with stones and not own them or have them in your own possession when they show up in messages like this. There. So sunstone talks about leadership, but this is not ruling over someone else. That would be the corruption that I just talked about in Gatherer. Leadership is about taking control of you, because really that is the only thing that will ever be in your control is you. So leadership is about responsibility. It's not about control. Responsibility is about what am I missing so that I can be cohesive, right? Because remember, our whole purpose is to return to unity consciousness. There's not a single one that exists here that's not meant to be of service. And so you have to drop the hierarchy. That's the corruption. You have to drop the duality thinking. That's the corruption. So here, leadership is saying, how can you be responsible for you? Because you're the only one that you can be responsible for. And this is especially a good message for parents, because we are not meant to direct our children's path. We are meant to nurture them so that they can fully embody their own path. We're not meant to poison it with our ideals. And I'm constantly reminding my children, you're welcome, because I haven't done that. And they're so lucky in that. They are such a small percentage. Because even people that I talk to and witness as parents, I see them all the time. It's the domesticating your children as you would a dog. And you're not giving them the credit that they deserve, because children are closer to spirit than adults are. Honest to God, and they are so fully aware. And if you allow them to be, they will stay in that awareness all through even their adolescence. And in their adolescence, of course, that's a time of great transformation and trials, which both of my kids are going through right now, but they are fully aware of who they are. And so it actually creates greater ease through that transition. Instead of having, domesticating children from a young age, then they become so confused in their adolescence, because that's when they're really supposed to be aligning in a greater way. And then they become confused in that aligning, because part of them wants to portray your version of them. And then part of them is like battling, saying, no, this is what I'm here for, I think, or I feel. And then they end up coming to see me. So, but leadership again is about responsibility. It's not about control. So really check yourself on that. And then Hiaka, Sorceress of Light. I stopped drawing from this deck for myself because I just draw from too many decks for myself every day. And it's amazing how these messages sometimes are like mind-blowing. Like this one definitely is for me. It's been coming up. And it's true. I've been told by other ascended friends of mine, like, you should take these psychic attacks as compliments, because the higher you ascend and the more you evolve, they're trying to thwart your path. True. But it becomes a nuisance. But this talks about being divinely protected. And I actually had to go through a whole ceremony and ritual yesterday to re-protect myself and sever some cords because people were not being respectful. And so Hiaka brings that message that you are divinely protected and you are aligned with your path. And so be confident and drop the fear that you can be derailed, or that someone else can bogart your ability to transcend. And so I'm breathing easy. Thank you for that message. And so just feel into that. Is there a fear? Is that what is fear stopping your awareness from seeing why you can't be cohesive? And so cohesiveness is you fully embodying your authentic and unique self. That's how we return to unity consciousness, that we are one, but there's no one like you. You are not me. And then gatherer, you're already being provided for. Stop the greed, stop the gluttony, stop the scarcity mindset, because it's corrupting your human experience. And also the idea of leadership is corrupting the human experience, right? Leadership, again, is about responsibility of self. It's not about controlling others. So come clean with that and really check yourself, because you will be protected if all of these things are aligned and your intent is pure and you are heart-centered and you are fully embodying your path in light. You will be protected. Now, outside of that, probably not. And that's when things become excruciating for people. And so that it's way easier to keep yourself in check when you know that. Okay, if I do this, if I'm in my highest integrity and I just say all the truth, I stop holding people captive, and my intent is pure, and I stay in my heart, not in my ego, and you remove yourself from contributing to the corruption, you will be protected in that. You will be protected in that. And that's the message of today. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me.